and then we'll head to today's activity while others join us. So, where is it? Where is it? Okay, yeah, share. So I don't know if you can see my screen well. Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can see
Oh,
it. We are seeing it.
thank
Yes, you can see your screen.
Yeah, I can see
you.
the screen.
Thank you. So yesterday we talked about what we'll cover: data analysis with Microsoft Excel, data visualization with Microsoft Power BI, and then prompt engineering. And the entire idea to this module that were brought together is to help you either in your career or in your business for you to be able to actually apply them, right? And then we talked about what will make it give you a good experience or a wholesome experience, that you should have Microsoft Office installed on your laptop, or you should borrow a laptop that has Microsoft Office. You should have good internet connectivity, and of course, you should install Power BI. That one, I said, when we get to Power BI, I will give you the instruction to install Power BI. Then, yeah, we talked about the housekeeping rules, and then I introduced the teaching assistants who will be available to offer you support, including myself. And then we briefly talked about data analytics, what is data analysis, and then why is data analytics important. We look at the four importance among many others, which is informed decision making, identifying trends and patterns, improve efficiency and effectiveness to predict future behavior. Then we had a little quiz, which we were just playing with. We also talked about types of data analytics, which is descriptive, predictive, prescriptive, and diagnostic analytics. We also have a little quiz in this area. Then we move on to the cycle of data analysis: the why, the how, and the what, and how we have to answer this question, and how we have to employ this approach in data analytics project. Then we talked about sources of data, right? The various sources of data, which is broadly categorized into primary data and secondary data. Yeah, and that's where we'll call it a day yesterday. So today we are going to be taking it a step further, right? We are going to look at Excel. Now, all this is meant to take you towards a particular destination, right? And that destination is, you can see that in this particular course we are doing, we are not talking about Python, we are not talking about SQL. These are tools you can still use for your data analysis. But my approach to this is that if you have a good foundation, like a very good foundation, it will be easy for you to pick up on those tools. And there's something I told a boy that I am currently mentoring into data engineering. I told him, I said, you can go to NIIT institution, or the other one is called HIIT. All those are institutes that, they'll teach you, guide you. I said, the only issue with those institutes is that you will never see an experienced individual in those institutes. It's somebody that is trying to learn too, that will come there and said he's a tutor. But what I am going to be teaching you, I have failed in projects at industry level. Yes. And then you have to wear your hat of shame and then stand before stakeholders and present your solution that has failed and give them reason why it has failed. And then trying to convince them that they should give you more time for you to work on it. I have done that over and over again. So every time I'm trying to give you an example or give you a perspective to a particular subtopic, I am drawing from both the success and the failure bank that I have. I'm drawing from there and giving you an idea of what you should do. Right? So it's actually dumb if you have to In fact, Apostle has said this several times. He said, you cannot live your entire life trying to learn everything. Sometimes you are supposed to leverage on people's experience. So you can see that with all due respect to him, he can stand for 5 hours, 8 hours. He keeps preaching, talking, giving examples, and you're like, doesn't he get tired? When is he going to stop, right? That happens because, one, the presence of the Spirit. Secondly, a lot of experience, a lot of experience. All those challenges that he faced back then, he's drawing from them and then sharing thoughts. So the same thing we are doing in this data analytics, right? To begin to try to bring industry experience and then fuse it with class experience and present it to you. So I want you to open up your heart. The essence of opening up your heart is for you to be able to ask as many questions as possible. And if we are done here, you can still be on Slack or on WhatsApp and ask as many questions as possible. Those questions does not necessarily need to be was what you were taught, but it can be an application of what you are taught. You are trying to relate it with real life scenario in your business, in your career, and so on and so forth. One example I'll give to you quickly is that I happen to, go to my brother's business location and then look at what he is doing. And I realized that sometimes, and this thing that happened, actually, Pastor Kayode said it during KSOM. I was thinking, well, this could be true, right? But I now saw it firsthand. He's selling mattress and then he's doing very well. He's in Jabe. And while he was selling this mattress, sometimes he's boasting, like, I sold 6 million naira today, I sold 4 million naira today. And the reason why what he is saying, the reason there's a problem with it is that both the profit and the revenue, he ties them together and then he is boasting. That 6 million he's talking about is not actually his profit, right? And this is also applicable to startups, tech companies. I was talking to a friend of mine today who is a banker, who is a bank manager, and he said one of those tech companies came to borrow money from him, and then they presented their revenue. And the revenue they presented is actually not their money because they're into fintech. So it's people's money that is coming through them and then going out. They present it as revenue. And he was like, nah, I can't give you the loan you're looking for. So it's good that we, as basic as these things may appear to be, we can make mistakes and then we drag those mistakes. You drag it in solving family problem, you drag it into solving societal problem, into solving institutional problem. And then people are wondering, this thing is so easy. Why doesn't he know it? That's one thing with ignorance. An apostle will tell you, fight ignorance like you're fighting cancer. Okay? So today we'll talk about Excel for data analysis, and we'll not cover everything here, but we'll try and go as far as we can today. Then next week we'll continue. So the first one is Microsoft Excel. It's a tool. Many people knows it. Let me minimize this. Okay. Yeah. So Microsoft Excel is a tool. I hope you guys can still hear me. I hope I'm not talking to myself.
Yes, we can. Yes, we can.
Thank you.
Can hear you.
Okay, Chidera said your audio is a little bit low. How about now? Can you hear me better?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Thank you.
You're audible, sir.
Okay, thank you. So, today we'll talk about Microsoft Excel. It's a tool that many people
But
are.
your voice is breaking. I think it's my network. It's really breaking now.
Oh, it's breaking up. How many people has issue with my voice breaking up?
Our network.
Oh, okay, it's our network.
I think it's our
Sorry
network.
That should be our network.
So what we advise is that you just, if you can stay around, stay around. If you cannot, you watch the recording, right? Just watch the recording. So we'll first talk about Microsoft Excel, which is a tool that we can use for both mathematical and numerical analysis of data, right? So many people have used it for quite some time, including us that is still using it now. Even with the emergence of artificial intelligence, people are still using Excel. One of the things I told some of my friends back then when they said, you know what, data science is going to die. I actually did data science. I did I worked as a data analyst. I've worked as a data scientist, and then I'm currently working as a data engineer. I've worked as an AI engineer. So my own is just whatever brings, as long as it's tech, whatever brings the food to the table, we are good. I'm paying the bills. We don't have issues. I'm going to do it. Right? So the reason why I'm telling you that is not to brag about it, but to let you know how long Microsoft Excel has existed. And then the comparison, because some people believe that at some point that some people said that, let me see, someone has a question or what? Okay, yeah, I'm working on that YouTube. YouTube decided to ask me to do some verification, and I've been busy since morning. I don't have time for them, but I'll work on that YouTube verification so that you can have access to it on YouTube. However, we also dropped it on Google Drive. You can actually download it and play it with VLC. So it's on Google Drive. So for me to continue what I was saying, people said data science will die, and then you should just run away from it. It has no value. AI has taken over. The truth is that data science will not die. It depends on your level of exposure to data science. Someone who is well equipped in data science will keep his job. You know how to use AI tools to, facilitate efficiency, to move faster, and then to present better results. Secondly, data science is not going anywhere. Why? Because all the regions of the world have different level of economic development. Data science in places like New York may not really have any value anymore. It will die out as a job. But data science as a career in Lagos or in Abuja will still be thriving. So region also plays a role. The same thing is happening to Excel now. Someone in Wall Street, we said, I don't need Excel. I have better tools, but they can pay for that better tool. Whereas someone in Nigeria cannot pay. When you call the money for the AI tool that they will be using, the guy will tell you, nope, I think I'm good with my Excel. So, and I can still tell you that in some ministry today, including Ministry of Finance in Nigeria here, they are still using Microsoft Excel. So it's very important. Yeah, that's the brief summary about that. Why is it hanging? Okay, so the features of Microsoft Excel, effortless spreadsheet creation, right? What this is simply saying, if you look at this place, this is the sheet. I could just create another one and then another one. That's effortless sheet creation. You don't need to stress too much about that. Then extensive tool set. There are so many tools on Microsoft Excel. And even me talking to you now, I still don't know all of the tools. I only know that I'm familiar with the one I need to do my work. I won't sit down and be trying to know all the tools. The problem is not knowing all of the tools. The problem is how do you use it to solve your own issues, your immediate analysis or needs that you have? How can you apply it? So, but then one of the things I also encourage you, don't compare yourself to others. As good as you think that some persons may be, they are a junior to another person, right? So we are all learning. We're all in the process of learning. I have seen someone who is a software engineer that programs in Python, and then he has been doing Python for over 10 years, I think around 10 or 15 years, Python programming language. So don't imagine Python snake. This is a programming language, right? He has been doing this for 10 to 15 years. And somehow this same person, all of a sudden will tell you that he is still learning because new version of the language is being released every year. And then improvements are being done. Also, his project depends on, let me see, someone has something. Please, are we going to get this class? our okay, Shade, I don't understand this question, but you get the recording, sure. That one is certain. Can you not be using the annotation tool, please? So then the next one, I think that should be here. Yeah, analytics. We can also perform gain actionable knowledge. We can perform analytics using Microsoft Excel. We can also do audit trail, simply talking about the ability to track changes in tools or keep tracks of audit in reports. So Excel has the ability to, help you to track changes in your report. And then we can carry out advanced calculation for financial analysis. We can also plot charts. And then there are templates for we to use. What this one meant in terms of this template is that you can come here, for instance, and then you said you want to create a new Excel. Now, this is a blank workbook. These ones are the template. If you are doing formula tutorial, you see a lot of formula if you click on this. If you are doing pivot tutorial, you see a lot of pivot examples in this template. And then when you click on it, it will open, right? But that's not what we are here for today. We'll talk about that some other time. So the next one is to look at some of the features of Microsoft Excel. That's the interface. We'll start with the formula bar, and then we'll talk about the cell. So this is the formula bar here, right? You can see that when I take this here, it kind of like tries to highlight it. This is the formula bar. So it's expecting me to insert a function. Then this is a cell. For this cell, what I need you to understand is that the cell has label. All this you are seeing, A, B, C, D, excuse me. So the letters are to identify the address vertically, and then the numbers is to identify the address horizontally. Now you combine them to pick a cell. So for instance, when we highlight these cells, this is C2. You can see it here, it is highlighted as C2, right? This one is D, that is D6. And then if you come here, you have J8. You can see it named here. Now, if you select a range of cell, this is a range in this case. What this one simply means is that you are dealing from C4 to F4. Okay? And then if you look at it downward like this, you're under C, then C4 again because of the cell, and then to C10. But we are not going to rush so that everybody will be carried along. So who can tell me the address of this cell I just clicked on?
E6.
E6. Okay.
E6.
Okay. So now this is E6. Now, how about if you know you don't get it, please don't feel shy. Everybody is going to. Let me tell you something. Something very serious. While my mother was pregnant, she did not eat Excel. So don't think that because she ate Excel, that's why I know Excel. No. Me too, I came out very dumb. I don't know anything about it. And I met people who know better than me. Right? So the main thing is just, if you don't know it, just say, I don't know it. And then I will explain to you. I intentionally did not reply. There was someone struggling with the link. I intentionally did not reply the person. I was with my phone. I was reading all the text. Do you know what I was doing there? I wanted you guys, I wanted to see how you guys are quick to help each other, right? And it actually happened. I see some people begin to assist. I think Giphy was the one that raised the issue. Some people begin to assist Giphy. That's how it should be. It's not only when you have something to gain from somebody that you now, present yourself and say, I can help. No, sometimes when you don't have anything to gain, offer yourself. That's how it should be. And I love what happened in the group. Trust me. Nobody ignored her. Maydat, can you go ahead and speak? You raise your hand. Maydat Muhammad. Okay. I guess she is not available. So, and also to cap it off, I am also a student currently, right? And the class that I am participating in, I already know data engineering. I don't need to take that class, but there's a subsequent class that will take place next year. So because of that class for next year, which is platform engineering, I have to take this class of data engineering. So imagine when you already know something and then you are in that class, you are there studying the same thing that you already know. So it takes humility. If not, you'll be like, what are they saying? I know this, forget about it. But whether you know it or not, it takes humility for us to, learn together, right? Yeah, there's a group chat. There's a group chat. I think I'll be coming to the meeting with, let me see. This should be, yeah, like this. Message this number, it should help you out. Somebody's annotation is on again and it's messing with the screen, right? So, the next one is here. So who can tell me the range for these cells, the address for the range I selected? You can put it in the chat section if you want to.
B,
Okay.
B, C, B,
B7 to G7.
Okay. B7 to G7. How about this one?
yeah, B7 to G.
B7 to G7. Okay, this one is I
I4 to
I2 to
I12.
I12.
Okay. So in dealing with cells, sometimes the cells
I12.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. In dealing with cells, sometimes you're not going to be dealing with a single cell. There are times you'll be dealing with a range of cell. And then there are other times we'll talk about referencing. You have to reference a cell. Okay. So all this is important. And you will still see the advantage, right? It's not just now, it's not just because of Excel. Even into the future, when you started learning programming language, and then you started doing advanced data analysis, you still notice that you have to be doing address referencing in order to pick a value from one address and then reference it in another part of your code. So it's very important you know this foundation and know it well. So move on to, yeah, we've talked about row, we've talked about columns, we've talked about the formula bar, we've not talked about the status bar and the sheet tabs. So let's quickly look at that. So here you have the status bar. You can see it's telling us ready. If we are processing anything, you will see it here. You will see the transaction going on. And then here we have the tabs, that is the sheet tabs. All the tabs are here. You can open as many as possible. You can change the name. I think we'll talk about that later. You can either double click on it to change the name or you right click on it. Right. For instance, if I come to this cell, I can right click on it. That's right click. And then I click on rename. I can rename the cell into Joseph. Now, I learned that there are people that spell Joseph like this. If you are one of them, repent. Repent. So, yeah, we can actually have that. And then we can call this Hawk. So, that's that. Then we talk about, we've also discussed the formula bar. We've talked about the column header, which is in letter, and then the row headers, which is 1, 2, 3. They are numerical. So let's see something else. Now, there is what is called a workbook. A workbook is a collection of one or more sheets, right? So what this is simply saying is that in this entire Excel that I'm working on, this is a workbook. Now, in this workbook, you have several sheets. This is a sheet, this is another sheet, and so on and so forth. Let me see, someone else is using annotation again. I don't know who, but let me see. Then there is a question. Oh, please, I am lost. Okay. Now we don't know where you are lost, but we will find you. So we talked about cell. And then for the cell, we talk about the column header, which is in letters A, B, C, D, all through. And then we talked about the row headers, which is 1, 2, 3 down this way. And then we talked about how to pick the address of a cell. And we said the address of a cell, you start with the letter followed by the number, which is, you can see it here. This is E8, right? And then we also talked about the range, how you can select a range. I didn't ask you people something like this. I know this one is a little bit complex, so we'll talk about that later. So let's just stop by selecting a straight row or a straight column like this. That's a range. Let me see. I don't understand the work you just talk about. Yeah. Okay, change of name. Okay. The workbook, what I mean by workbook, every time you open a new Excel file, that is a workbook, because inside it you can have multiple sheets, multiple worksheets. All this, they are inside a book. This is a book. This is a workbook. Now, if you close this Excel sheet, if you close this Excel workbook and open a new Excel, what you have is also going to be, as long as you can create multiple sheets in that environment, that is a workbook. Then for the renaming of name, I said you can either double click to change the name. You can either double click to change the name, or you can right click on it and then click on rename. And then the name can now be this. So it's just to give you an idea that you can rename your sheet. All right. For those who are already aware, please don't be offended that we are too slow. Everybody must be carried along. That's my own principle. Okay. I believe we are good now. We can move on to the next thing, right?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes, you can move on, sir.
So we've talked about cell, which is an intersection between row and column. And then we've talked about how to identify their name. The letter from the represents the column, and then the number represents the row. We've talked about a range, how we can pick either range horizontally or vertically. We can pick range. And we will see the advantage of that when we enter into analysis, when we start working on analysis, right? I don't understand what book you just talk about. So yeah, Abigail, I said a workbook actually is just the Excel file itself. Every time you open an Excel file, that's a workbook, because inside that Excel file, you can create multiple worksheets. Okay. And I will show you an example. I'll show you an example. Let me see. Because this is important. Imagine you are now the secretary of prayer department, and Pastor Kenny said, okay, we are about to share rice to some people. Quickly prepare the names, the amount, the number of people, the quantity of rice, and all that. Put it on Excel sheet and send it to me. So you should be able to do this. You should be able to do that. In fact, you should be able to do more than that, and then prepare a proper report for him. And you can also apply this to your business. So for a workbook, every time you open a new file, let's say you open a new workbook like this. So this is a new workbook. Every time you open a new file, that's a workbook. And as long as you can create multiple sheets in it, you have multiple sheets in it, one or more sheets, then it's a workbook. Okay. So we've created 2 workbooks, but let's close one. We don't need one. We'll close this book. So go back to the book we are working with initially. So yeah, we can also use Google Sheets, but we have to go gradually. We have to go gradually. If you don't understand Excel and you jump to Google Sheets, it might be a headache. So it's good that you understand both. What if you know Google Sheet? Somehow you don't have a good network that day. What will you do? You not work with Excel. You have to work with Excel. So you should be able to work with offline and you should be able to work both offline and online, right? So we'll do this. In fact, after we do this, I think even though I did not capture the detail of Google Sheet in the curriculum, what I'm going to do is that I'll set aside maybe one of the Fridays or Saturdays and walk us through Google Sheet. Then what I will now do is to give you an assignment. The assignment, I will implement it on Microsoft Excel and you will see it. And then I'll now tell you, go to Google Sheet and implement it again and then submit. So you'll be all right. Trust me, you'll be all right. And we'll talk about formulas. Yeah, let's look at formula tonight, right? Let's look at formula. Formulas are very important. A formula is an expression in a cell. So Excel has so many formulas. For instance, you can see the diagram on the right side. You can see this is a sum, but every time you want to use a formula or a function, you have to assign it to the equal sign you're saying. Sorry, excuse me. So you have the function name, and then you pass in the argument. The argument is the range of cells, right? It's the range of cells. Let me show you what this is simply talking about. For instance, if we have, we can call this sales. Can call this sales, and then we have 10. We have 5. We have 6. Okay, 4. We have 7. So what this is simply talking about is that when we want to compute the total now, what do? We want to use a function. But if we start by saying sum, you see, it will just be looking at it like it won't be able to make sense of it. You see, it can't make any sense out of it. But the best way to use a function in a function is just, instead of you to be trying to sum them up one after the other, there's already a function embedded inside Excel. All you need to do is call that function using the equal sign, attach the function name to the equal sign, then select the range where the values are, and then you will see it work. For instance, here, this is sum. You can see the description, sum, number 1, and so on and so forth. So we say sum, and then we open bracket, then we select the range of cells. That's C3 to C6. We close it, and then there you have the answer. That's 27. So you can see how to use sum. This is just a simple example, but we'll talk about other examples shortly. Let me see. This is the video. Okay, I hope this video is being recorded though. I hope. If it's not, I will have to. Okay, it's being recorded. It's being recorded. Thank you for reminding me. I mean, there's high tendency that I'm not recording, so okay. Now, this is just a formula you can use to add all the values here. And then you can also do maybe subtraction. Let's delete this one and see. So let's say we have this one to be previous sales. Let's call it previous sales. Previous sales. And then let's call this current sales. Current sales. So here we can put 5. We can put 2. We can put 5. We can put 6. And then let's call this sales difference. The sales difference. So basically what we are saying here now is that we want to subtract the current sales from the previous sales. There's nothing like this. I just made it up just to show you that you can also use another formula I'm just trying to show you the formula. So here you can do this, and then you use the equal sign, then you call the function. The name of the function is subtract. I'm coming. No, that's not what I'm looking for. Yeah, I think it should be, excuse me. Just a second. There is no point you being in class and you're not doing the thing. Doesn't make sense, right? Okay, just I'll share it now. Okay. Sorry about that. I'm in another meeting, that's why. So basically, if you want to do cell difference, what you do is this. Then you pick the cell. You can say minus the other one, which is D3. You see, this is the value. Then if you drag it down, it will repeat the same formula for all the other cells. I don't know if you understand, but let me show you again. I'm not using formula, I'm just doing it like manually. So you use the equal sign, then you select the first cell, then you put the minus sign, then you select the second cell, and then you press enter. Then you now drag this down, you see? So when you drag it down, it will just repeat the formula for all of the other cells. That is, here you now have 6 minus 2. There you now have 4 minus 5. Here you now have 7 minus 6. I don't know if we understand it, but let me see. Okay, please, can you assist with the volume of your PC? It's raining heavily here. Okay, I will try and do my best. Let me see. I hope this helps. So if you also want to do addition, you can say sales addition, right? What this is that you are now saying the previous sale plus the current sales. You are summing them together, and then you can just drag this down and then you add it, you see. So what it does is that it repeats the formula for the first one, it repeats it for the other ones, and then you have that. Okay. Let me see. Okay, a bit lost with sum. Yeah, for the sum, what the sum does is that it just total everything. Okay, if you want to add all this first row, I'm talking about here. If you want to add all this together now, what you do is sum. You just put the equal sign, and then you type the sum, and then you open bracket, then you select the cells that you want to add together, and then you close it and hit enter. You see, it will sum all that together. You can see here on the formula bar is showing you sum C3 to F3. Do you understand? Do we understand?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
If you don't, let me know.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Emmanuel, do you understand? Okay. Emmanuel says yes. So, we'll talk more about these formulas and functions, how we can use them. Who is Meidat? You're always raising hand, but can you speak? What do you want to say?
So I wanted to ask that all this sum, the function, they are just on the PC because I'm actually following from my phone.
Okay. You said all the words?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, what I'm trying to find out is that this sum, is it like just the PC? That's where you type the sum on the keyboard, or is it from the Excel sheet? That's where it's coming from.
Yeah, the sum is actually from Excel sheet. The sum is from Excel sheet. You will see.
So that's what
Yeah. You see, automatically it will highlight them for me. There is a conditional sum, right? There's a sum and product. There are different varieties. So the reason why you are thinking that if I'm the one, because I typed everything fully, I didn't select it. But ideally, if you want to do it, let's say you are there, and then you type S, and then you type U, you type M. You're supposed to just click on this, right? But I didn't do that. I just typed the entire thing and then open a bracket and then select the range. This is the range. And then hit enter. You see, you have the value here, 35. For those that don't understand, can I?
Thank you, sir.
Yes, you get the video, of course. Everyone will get the video. So, yeah, this is it for this one. For those that said they didn't get it, I'm saying that you can manually do this, do some basic calculations, and then there are those you can use formulas to do the calculation. All right. So, like here, you can do some again. But ideally, you shouldn't be repeating yourself. That's what they call dry. Dry means don't repeat yourself. So that's why when you have the formula here, which is the sum for C3 to F3, you can just drag this, you drag it down, and then Excel automatically applies the formula to the entire column for you. So what it does is that when the formula gets to this second row, it will add everything on this row for you. If you can see, this is C4 to F4. If you come to this third one, you see C5 to F5. Come to this one, you have C6 to F6. All right. So I hope we are good. I hope no one is lost.
We are good.
Okay. Please, if you are lost, don't worry. Tomorrow, let me not say tomorrow. Tomorrow is Sunday. We'll not do that tomorrow. So what we'll do is that I think we'll dwell here on these functions and formulas so that I'll give you as many examples as possible so that we can properly grab it, right? So there are many formulas. For instance, you can also do a product. Let me just delete these ones that have, should I delete them? No. Let me just copy.